Hi, welcome to the guitar demonstration. I'm here to demonstrate the guitar in general. So I have two types of guitar. We've got the acoustic guitar and the electric guitar that I will show you and play to you a bit later on. Alright. Now the acoustic guitar, commonly known as the classical guitar, has been around for between 400 and 500 years, and for a lot of that time it was used as a solo instrument. And it was during the Romantic period that composers started to put the solo guitar in with an orchestra. As we got into the 20th century and out into jazz music, the guitar was also quite popular because it would play strange chords, sounding a bit like this. Now the acoustic guitar, quite straightforward, 6 strings, got a neck, you've got this acoustic hole here, so that what happens is strum the strings, the air vibrates and the sound comes out of the sound hole. But of course, one thing that came quite clear, was the fact that as bands grew and got louder, the guitar couldn't keep up. So in about the 1930s, 1940s, the electric guitar was introduced by Gibson, notably Les Paul, who came up with the design for the Gibson Les Paul, one of the most popular designer guitars. So we're going to now swap over to the electric guitar and talk some more about the electric guitar. So the 1950s was especially an important era for the guitar because it was the birth of rock and roll. And Fender started off by introducing the Telecaster. Started off as the Squire, which the Telecaster had 2 pickups and a 3-position toggle switch. But in 1954, this design guitar, which is one of the most commonly copied guitars, the Stratocaster, Fender Stratocaster, was introduced. Now this is a copy of Fender Stratocaster made by Squire, who are owned by Fender. I do actually have my Fender Stratocaster here. And it helped to promote rock and roll music, and it was very much a clean sound. It made the guitar louder. And of course you had like Johnny B. Good as well. Towards the end, especially in Britain, we had the Shadows. Now Hank Marvin, lead guitarist of the Shadows, was the first person to bring into this country the red Fender Stratocaster. Cliff Richard bought him one because he found a catalogue and he wanted a really good guitar to promote the group, and he got a Fender Stratocaster. So yes, for something like this. And that took us into the 60s. 60s really was a very strong development for the electric guitar because it was a case of we still had these guitars, the Stratocasters, there were lots of other copies about. The Gibson Les Paul became popular, but it wasn't just about playing the volume to get a clean sound. It was all about volume towards the end of the 60s. People like Jimi Hendrix. Which then took us into the 70s. And again, the guitar we had prog rock, making rock songs longer, extending the 3-minute song format, and experimenting with lots of different sounds. So the electric guitar grew in the 1970s especially with the advent of studio technology, things like delays, which of course is a signal repeated over and over again. There's lots of compression applied to the distortion to get the notes to last longer. So it really became, a space type of guitar. There's also a band called Queen that became popular, and the guitarist Brian May was especially famous for making a homemade guitar, and I'll show you that guitar after I finish with this guitar. Towards the end of the 70s, again, another development, we had Eddie Van Halen he invented the hand tapping technique. And of course, especially Made, this is the tremolo on. Before in the 1960s, it was all about adding vibrato to the chord. But of course, in the 70s, when you've got heavy metal, you could do things like dive bombing and whale sounds with it. Like that. And it's been a mainstay of rock music ever since. So I'll just play a couple of examples of how you might have heard the electric guitar played in this time. It's about choosing a guitar that's right for you. It's choosing an amplifier that's right for you and gives you the right sound. I'm playing through a little Vox amp called the Mini 5, and I also have a big Vox AC30 as well. I'm a very big Vox fan. I also have some different effects that go with it to help me give the sound that I want. But this is a copy of Brian May's guitar. Now it's quite an unusual design in the way of the switching, because on the Fender Stratocaster there is a 5-position toggle switch which just goes through the pickups. As you might be able to see here, we have a switching system which switches the pickups on and off here, and then reverses the magnetism of the pickups to give you something different. So for example, Brian May sounds, which is basically the bridge pickup and the middle pickup on, it's good for rhythm guitar playing. And that's from, of course, the Queen song Tie Your Mother Down. When you start to use the phase switches, this is where things get interesting. So for example, there's another famous guitar solo of Queen, where if you switch all the pickups on, put the neck out of phase, and it gives you that screechy sound in a well-known solo. Gives you the Bohemian Rhapsody solo. You can even put the bridge pickup the fingerboard to pick up on and put this one out of phase to get a bit of a, I suppose, a very, I suppose, harsh sound, which is good for metal. So yeah, you can have fun with this. Apparently there's a combination of 24 different sounds. So I hope you like the idea of the guitar. It's all about chord shapes, perseverance and learning it bit by bit. And then you can either stay with the acoustic guitar, or if you want, you can play the electric guitar. But as I say, it's given me a lifetime full of fun. It means you get to collect lots of guitars, amplifiers and lots of box of toys. So if you are interested, see your music teacher, and in doing so we can give you the link to sign up so that you can have guitar lessons. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.